2023 Deion Sanders debut did not go as planned as he wanted it to. Started off in a hot start when he beat TCU, just to find out TCU was not that good later on in the season, and they were expected not to be that good anyway. But it really collapsed when they lost to Stanford in a comeback win for Stanford, and along the way they just got worse, and their depth for the team has really shown they don't have enough depth with the injuries. And even though they have Shador Sanders, that's pretty good, and Travis Hunter is a great athlete, Shalom Sanders is okay, but that is still not going to be enough with a terrific defense last year, giving up a bunch of points. Their offense cannot, pick up the slack for. They have a pretty good offense, but their defense was pretty bad, and they gave up a lot of points. Comeback wins. Couldn't get really much stops when they needed to, resulting in a 4-8 season. So in this video, how will they do? This is a 2024 Colorado football prediction video. And just for y'all to know, just a reminder that Colorado is going to the Big 12. They were originals of the Big 12. It's great to see them back where they belong. But the Pac-12 was a good fit for them as well. And they start their 2024 debut of the year, and they will face a very dangerous North Dakota State Bisons, and those guys are very dangerous. They pull off some upsets and close upsets before, particularly in the Big 12. North Dakota State, they're a pretty good team all the time. They're always in the tournament for the FCS tournament, and they have won a couple of championships. In Colorado, the biggest thing that can concern you is your defense. Their defense was not that good. They gave up a lot of points. And North Dakota State is not that team you want to give up a lot of points to. They have scored a lot of points throughout the year. And last year, they were in the 30s and the 40s all last year. And they only lost 2 games last year. And how will they react? Will Colorado have a step-up defense? Can they do something? Can they make changes last year? Because they gave up 42 points, 41, 43, and a couple times 16 and 19, but they were not that good teams. The best highlight of their defense is when they faced Oregon State, and Oregon State barely escaped Colorado this year, but they got blown out a lot last year. I will give them the L. I think the Bisons will go to Boulder and give them a big L. I think this is not really an upset, but it's going to be like a shootout. But I don't think Colorado can keep up with North Dakota State. I don't think Colorado can put up many stops when they needed it to. I think North Dakota State has a better defense than Colorado, because you look at Bison's last year, they actually had a pretty good defense. Look at their defense in 2023. Their biggest amount of points they gave up was 31. And the most little is 3, and they usually don't give up more than 20. And so for Colorado, that's the big issue. I'll give them the L here for the debut opener. All right, and their second game is a great rivalry. It was great to see it back last year. It is Nebraska. This could be an either way game. Last year, Nebraska and Colorado was a good game. I actually enjoyed it. Nebraska got blown out in this game, and you would have thought that Nebraska would have done better in this game than what they have put on the field last year. That was kind of disappointing. But coming off a loss to North Dakota State, Colorado did. I think they take another L. I think Colorado, with their defense, I think Nebraska can be a big bowl eligible team. I think they can get to a bowl game. But I think Nebraska is just going to have them out for them. It's at Lincoln, Nebraska, at the Red Sea, one of the toughest environments in the Big 10. Used to be in the Big 12. It is very tough to be there. Shaky defense. They have a high-power offense. Nebraska got a pretty good defense. And Nebraska, their concern is their offense. I think Nebraska can wear out Colorado. We don't know how good Shador Sanders will be and Travis Hunter and the guys will be when they go to this big environment. Because last year, they did not do very good in the environments. Because last year, they went to Eugene, Oregon, and got smacked. So I think they're going to take a L to Nebraska. So in the third game, we're moving on to the Rocky Showdown. Used to be a pretty good game back in the day. No one really cared for it back in the FSN days in the 2000s. It was one of them games you don't really care to watch, but you watch it anyway because that's football. Now, last year, this was a game of the year almost last year. I mean, one of the best games we had last year. It's at Fort Collins, Colorado this time. I think Colorado gets the W. I think Colorado State can't compete with Colorado with their high-power offense. I just think Colorado takes the big W on this one, and it bounces back with this big rivalry game win when they desperately need it. And after that, they go to their conference opener versus Baylor. And Baylor, this is a winnable game for Colorado. This could be switched any way, but I just think Baylor, I mean, they were terrible. With Dave Aranda, you wouldn't think that. They went 3-9, and we did not expect that with a Dave Aranda team. Because in 2022, they were 6-6, 6-7, and you can start to tell now Dave Miranda maybe not the guy for Baylor. I mean, that's starting to become a hot seat issue for them. But I think Colorado gets the W over Baylor, putting them 2-2 for now. Now in the fifth game of the year, they will face Gus Malzahn and the Gus Bus of UCF at UCF. And this game could be fun to watch. You know, Arkansas quarterback KJ Jefferson, he transferred to UCF. J. Rod Plumlee graduated. So this will be actually an interesting game because UCF was a very dangerous team in the Big 12. Won some good games and lost quite a bad games. I think UCF beats Colorado. I just think that UCF has a better defense than Colorado. I think KJ Jefferson running the build is going to be, oh my God, it's going to be unbelievable. I wonder how this duo will work with Gus Malzahn and KJ Jefferson, because Gus Malzahn, remember back in 2014, he had Nick Marshall, and KJ Jefferson is actually a bigger version of Nick Marshall, and this is going to be interesting. I think it will work for this game. I wonder how it's going to work out for the rest of the year. Keep an eye on that team in the Big 12, but this will land them being 2-3. Saturday, October 5th, they have a bye week. And now they're going to Kansas State. They will play at home versus Kansas State. And Kansas State is one of the big favorites of the Big 12. I think they take a big loss here. Oh, my goodness. Kansas State. It's going to be interesting. Will this be a sleeper game for Kansas State? Because they'll be coming off of Oklahoma State and then a bye week. So they both get bye weeks. I think Kansas State actually destroys Colorado here. I don't think Colorado can hang with Kansas State. And then in October 19th, put another L. It'd be at Arizona. Arizona is not going to be as good as they were last year. I think people are saying they could be better, and they have a chance to be a big contender for the Big 12. I think they have another L here. This is going to be starting to be a downhill trend for Colorado at this point. We'll see if Deion can circle the wagons here and get a morale up so they can save a bowl game at this point. At this point, they are 2-5, and they face Cincinnati Bearcats at home. I think they get the W here. Last year, Cincinnati was not good. They were terrible. I think even Colorado can actually manhandle Cincinnati. Cincinnati had some creep-up games like Baylor they should have beat, but most of the time they were, watch out. If you look ahead too far, they could creep up on you. But you should beat Cincinnati. They're not that good of a team. I give them the win. They'd be 3-5 at this point. If Colorado do not beat Cincinnati, this is going to be very worrisome for Deion Sanders and the crew. So they come off their second bye week. They play Texas Tech Red Raiders. And this game could be tricky. Last year, Texas Tech, they will be coming off this game from Iowa State, and that could be a dark horse in the Big 12. Texas Tech last year, they could be good, but boy, they can be bad because they lost to Wyoming in the debut of 2 overtimes, and they were big contenders versus Oregon, almost beat Oregon, and then they almost beat Kansas State, and they beat Kansas. They're a very wishy-washy team. I think this could be a very trap game for Texas Tech if they do not watch out. Texas Tech got a good offense and a pretty good defense from time to time. Colorado got good offense and bad defense. I think Texas Tech beats Colorado. I will put this as a 50-50 game. This could be flipped either way, but I think Texas Tech beats Colorado. So now they're 3-6, and boy, the next 3 games is not going to be good. I mean, it can get really ugly, and they need to win to hang in the balance. And so they go to at home, and they will face Utah at home with Cam Rising and a Kyle Whittingham team. I think Colorado got no. I don't think they're going to beat Utah. I mean, there's no way Utah is going to lose to Colorado. I mean, I just don't think so. And I just don't. It was a close game last year, yes, but it was rivalry week. Now it's not rivalry week. This is going down the road, and I think depth is going to be a big issue at this point for Colorado, and that's the sad thing about this. And Utah will be in Big 12 contender format this year. I mean, Utah can be very dangerous in November. From November to December, Utah has a history of beating some teams and going to the conference championships. And I think they take another L. They will not go to a bowl game. They'll be 3-7. And then they go to Kansas with Jalen Daniels, one of my favorite players of all college football. And with Bean, he was a great backup quarterback to Jalen Daniels. And so Bean is not going to be here this year. Jalen Daniels, one of the most electrifying college football players of right now. I think Kansas beats Colorado. I mean, it's going to be this game right here. This could be dangerous for Kansas because they could be Big 12 title contenders as well. I mean, we have 5 or 6 title contenders for the Big 12. Kansas could be one of them. They have a pretty good defense, but this could be a shootout. I think Kansas outlasts Colorado at home. And then go to Oklahoma State at home, rivalry week. Oklahoma State, I mean, they're in this prime form. They could be in and out with the Big 12 in the championship race. I think Oklahoma State's going to be Colorado. I mean, this is rivalry week. Anything can happen. This could lead out into a shootout. This could be a 50-50 game. But in my heart, and I don't want to second guess this, I think Colorado State beats Colorado. So this ends up being a 3-9 season. This is predicted 3-9 season. This is one win less than they did last year. And if this happens, most likely it will. The most they can be is probably 5-7, guys. They can beat North Dakota State and UCF and maybe Texas Tech. Maybe go 6-6 is at the most. But they can go as bad as 3-9, and most likely it's going to be 3-9. And everybody's going to start looking around about Deion Sanders probably, and this is the second year, so you can't get mad at him because Colorado is not that good. But there were some years in 2020 and 2016 Colorado was good, and you start to wonder, like, is Deion Sanders is the guy? Is there built up too much hype? Because there was way too much hype last year after beating TCU. And remember, everybody's forgot that Colorado is not that good of a program. And so you ain't going to have 3 stars, 4 star, 5 stars going to Colorado. You're going to have 1 or 2 stars, walk-ons, maybe transfer portal guys if you have the right pitch. And people forgot about that. And TCU was so bad last year. People just jumped them up in the rankings, and when they faced some good teams like USC and Oregon, they really figured out how bad they are when they played Stanford last year. So it brought them down to earth. I think people are starting to get that expectation of 10-2 again for some reason for Colorado. I don't think they're going to reach that. I think the most they will be at 6-6, but I think it's going to be 3-9. So tell me what you think in the comments down below. What do you predict that Colorado will finish at the end of 2024 season? Like at the end of the video, comment what you think, and subscribe to the channel. I'll see you in the next video.